Hello, it's Jeffrey with Real Nifty Vintage, and today I'm actually on my way to Goodwill. I'm going to donate some items I have here. I take my items to Goodwill. There are a few other thrift stores, but Goodwill honestly is very convenient for me because you pull up and they come out to your car and unload it for you. And if what I'm about to show you is super annoying and I don't want to have to move it anymore, I'm just done with it. Oh, it's a lot of glassware. So let me show you what I've got down here in these bins. So I'm about to load all of these bins in my car and take them to be donated because they are items that just aren't selling. They're not worth selling. They're too heavy. You know, there's a multitude of reasons why I am no longer going to even mess with these. Mostly the price points are just too low for the amount of work that goes into the whole selling of them. And I would say 99.9% of everything here had already been listed on my Etsy store for at least a year. So they just weren't selling anyway. And I also was pulling things that wasn't getting very many views. So on Etsy you can see, well on eBay too, you can tell how many people have viewed your item, and then additionally you can see how many people favorited your item. So items that had 0 hearts, which is like the favorite equivalent on Etsy, and 0 views or close to it, I just said, no, I'm done. And there's a few reasons to do that. The first is that I don't want a whole bunch of stale stuff in my shop. Secondly, I don't want to be paying all the fees that are that go along with having things listed just over, you know, months and months. And what was the other thing? Well, why have extra stuff that clogs up my storage room if I don't need to? Because space is also a premium. Lastly, I want to say it helps being able to purge older inventory just to kind of maybe close that chapter, close that book so that I can move on to better things. And I don't want to be like drugged down and held back with stuff. So let's say, for instance, this long brass home interiors metal art thing. Well, it is kind of in style right now. I do sell the smaller equivalents of this, but look how large this is. So yeah, it's under £1. It's gonna go first class potentially, but it's so big that the box is gonna be the problem. Trying to find a box large enough for this and still have it be under £1, that's probably not gonna happen. And I mean, it's not a big deal if it's over £1. It's just that at the end of the day, I mean, we got some problems here on this butterfly. It's not wanting to focus, but there's this kind of problems here. It's a little bent. It's large. It's probably going to sell for, I don't know, I would probably make about $10 after everything's considered with, because the shipping is going to be a little bit of an annoyance on there. Now, the glasses, there are some pretty neat glasses in here, but they are just not worth it. Whether it's the weight or the style of them, it's just not happening. So we have some of these Christmas glasses. They're poinsettias. These are cool, but they're not that extraordinary. This is not much different than what you could find at, you know, new. You could buy things new similar to this. You could go to the thrift store, find them, and really, Christmas glasses are kind of a hard sell because you can only really use them maybe, what, 2 weeks of the year at the most. So that's not great. Then we have, again in the same vein, we have some of these Libby. It's this frosted with the leaf pattern on here. They're cool, but again, they really lend themselves to the fall season, autumn, and all of that. These were a really popular glass, and they made a ton of them for at least 30 years. In different variants, and I have in one of the other things, I have some silver versions of these, and they made them in all different styles, and a couple configurations of this pattern do sell. I did sell a bar set that included like a decanter and all this, and it was in a nice caddy. That kind of stuff I could see selling, but just the run-of-the-mill glasses, they're really prevalent online. Stuff like this, you know, it's like a Pilsner style footed glass. I bought this because I thought the design on it was really interesting, but it's just like, who's going to use this? I imagined that there would be enough people out there that wanted to have like something unique if they were like a horse fan, because there's a horse on there, or if they, I don't know, like a horse, like racing and all this. So didn't happen. But there was like, and another thing is there was 3 tall ones, and then there were some of these little Scotch glasses that were included in there. But yeah, they just didn't sell, and they were listed for over a year. So a lot of things like that. We do have some, just, yeah, as you can see, it's, and then this is a little nut bowl. That's, again, it's attributed to fall because of the squirrel and the nut, and how many people put nut bowls out? Not many. And if you're gonna put nuts out, you probably want to see the nuts, because it's like you spent a lot of money for those nuts. Walnuts are not cheap. So there's that. And then over here, I mean, just a hodgepodge mess, isn't it? I have some caps. I was buying caps for a while. I mean, I still do if they're really cool, but I was being a little bit more liberal at one point with caps. This one, not really selling. Mizzou, that's a local college. Nah, not really selling. But I have sold caps. I mean, I have, and some sold for $30, some for $40. It's just, you know, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not that, like, they don't excite me that much, to be honest. So I'm starting to get back into what I really like to buy and sell. And so I guess what you're seeing a lot of is things that I bought and it was like, oh, 25 cents, why not? I'll try it. Or 50 cents, why not? I'll try it. So, I mean, yeah, you got a lot of stuff here, but I cannot possibly, I don't think it's worth, I mean, all this stuff, I don't think I paid more than $50 for it all. So this does go along with buying and selling and like learning, because you kind of have to figure out what your style is and pair that with kind of what's popular and what sells, and how long you want to hold on to things. So there's these different things whenever you go into reselling that you have to think about, because I mean, yeah, you could buy the things that are like on trend, popular, but you have to really want to do that and keep up with it and everything. Or you can go the route of buying things that just speak to you. Or, there's lots of different ways to do it, and it's always in finding your balance and your specialty and what you like, because that at the end of the day is really what's going to pay off for you, because you'll know that area more than anybody. So here's a set of Libby glasses, and see, I think we have a lot of glasses here. I mean, you're noticing that. A lot of glassware. And glassware is hard to sell online. There's just something about it. I guess people are maybe, for one, turned off by buying glassware online because they don't want it to break. And also it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of people that don't like using old things. Even if they're vintage and cool, they don't like that maybe they've been used. They look down upon it probably. And if they're just not really, really special, it's gonna be a really tough sell. Here's those silver ones like I was mentioning. So they did come in silver as well. Lots of mugs, things that are just no good. This is awesome, looks really cool. It's made by the Inland Glass Company. But there's just like a little chip right there on the Bakelite, and I don't know if that'll focus. Well, there's just like a little chip there on this ridge, and it's not, I don't know. I do have the antique booths, and I was thinking about putting some of the stuff on in the booth. I already pulled a good number of stuff to fill a tote, so I did save a tote worth of stuff that could have been donated. I'm gonna put that in the booth, and I give it one more shot. I don't want to go too much more into all this stuff. It's a lot of repetitive things. Here's some Dorothy Thorpe style. I believe they call this Queen's Vitrion. It fades down in that ombre style. Wooden fruit, very tough sell for me. I could never really sell it at all. I mean, I think I've maybe been able to sell one, but it never sells for as much as I think it will, because I mean, it looks so cool mid-century, but there's just not really, it's not really a popular thing in my opinion right now. A lot of Corelle mugs. I don't really buy Corelle mugs anymore because they're just not that popular, and there is so many of them unless you're really getting into like a really like just a desirable color scheme or pattern or all this. But mugs I try to stay away from. But I mean, you kind of see most of this is glassware. Like a good 80% of this is glassware, and under this is glassware. That's why it's so high. So you're only really seeing about 6 inches here of other things on top of glasses. See down in here? So same thing in here. There's lots of glassware. We've got character glasses in here, Flintstones. They do sell, It's just they don't sell for much, and especially online, by the time you add shipping in, people just aren't into it. And you can find those a lot at thrift stores and antique stores. And I mean, you get an instant gratification just like that, and you bought them. So, point of the story is, there is value here. You could still sell the stuff, but it's like, it's not much better than yard sale stuff in quality wise and price wise and what you're able to resell it for. And at that point, I'm over it, you know? I got to move on to bigger, better things. I've been being a little bit more intentional with what I'm buying, and I think that's really helped me. It's helped me progress and not kind of be too much of like a scavenger. I walked in there and they just brought out a fresh new cart of stuff. So that's what they do at Goodwill if you've never been, which I find that hard to believe, but Goodwill, they bring out these rolling carts and they have the inventory and they'll let you pick straight from it, and then after, you know, maybe 30 minutes or so, they'll take that inventory and put it on the shelves. So it's easier for them too. But they brought out a fresh cart full of stuff and I immediately saw this and snatched it right up. $5. I mean, not a bad price really. It is fresh in the bag, new old stock. It's made by Canon. So here we are. I mean, it's really cool. It has this kind of sateen type edging here, and it made it look like wool, but it's 100% polyester. So this right here will go for at least $30 online. I can tell you that flat out, but it could be a little bit more. So that's a great little start there. Donate stuff that doesn't sell and buy something that's going to.